Good evening and welcome to this very first edition of the program, The Week in Review. This program will focus on highlighting the major events that happened in the week from the government house to your very community, the activities of policymakers in the state and Nigeria, as well as from the international community. In the Week in Review, Governor Willie Obiano secured another milestone in his drive to change the face of Anambra State and move to consolidate more on security. We also bring you a report on President Buhari's visit to troubled states in Eastern Ghouta to record more deaths. These and more on our package tonight. I am David Opokwasili, and this is the Week in Review.
I was working, we had everybody young persons. When they observed that their age is going and they were supposed to hand over, they created all these restrictions. So they were youth when they conspired to stop the forthcoming youth from taking over. If you are a young man who is actually building your capacity, and if you have the elderly, as I said earlier, who believe that young people should come, people like the governor of Anambra State, when you need to run, there will be somebody somewhere who will support you. That is one way to it. One way is probably building the financial chest to push it. Secondly, you have somebody. The governor of Anambra State, I've never met him, I never knew him, but I was employed. I was engaged to work. Because he stepped out to look for young persons with capacity. And a whole lot of persons like that he engaged without even knowing them. But he looked into their capacities to get them into office.
Governor Willie Obiano has stated that the 5.6-kilometer Zobula-Tani roads connecting 3 local government areas when completed will further strengthen the state government's drive towards opening more agrarian communities. Kenneth Farmers report is taken here from the studio.
Governor Willie Obiano says the road infrastructural development initiative of his administration, when fully realized, will ensure that all parts of the state with capacity to promoting agriculture are opened. The governor was speaking when he inspected ongoing construction of Atani Ozubulu Road. The 5.6-kilometer road, which connects communities in 3 local government areas of Obaru, Ihiala, and Ekusigo, was awarded by the previous administration and was continued and is being fully completed by the Obiano administration. During the visit, it was observed that first layer of asphalt had already been done while the coating was ongoing. Speaking thereafter, Governor Obiano said the road is important not only because it opens up agrarian communities of Ihiala and Obaru, but also because it will help divert traffic along the Asabonicha Expressway, especially for those going to Owerri. Noting that he is satisfied with the quality of work done on the road, Governor Obiano said when completed, the road will have all the complements of a standard road, including street lights and road markings. He reminded Anambra that his government remains committed to completing all the roads which he has promised to construct, urging them to avail his administration every necessary support to enable it to succeed. The Commissioner for Road Infrastructure, Furniture and Maintenance, Chief Lawrence Chinwuba, noted that the road is being constructed in line with best practices in road construction and thanks Governor Obiano for his support. In their separate remarks, some stakeholders from the area, including the Special Advisor to the Governor on Agriculture, Tourism, Training, Methodology and State Emergency, Venerable Amechi Okwosa, and the Chairman, State Signage Agency, Chief Jude Emecheta, said the Governor is making his promises to these people, adding that the road has great prospects for improved socio-economic benefits for the people. The site engineer of the contracting firm handling the project, Mr. Tony Madi, assured that they will deliver the project in a month's time.
The state government has brokered an agreement with the Nigerian Army Corps of Engineers to train members of Anambra State Road Maintenance Agency in road construction and maintenance. Correspondent Kenneth Farmer filed the report and is taken from here.
Nigerian Army Corps of Engineers is to train members of the State Road Maintenance Agency on standard practices in road construction and maintenance. Governor Willie Obiano disclosed this after a closed-door meeting he held with the commander of the Corps, Major General Joseph Malu, at the Governor's Lodge, Amawabia. Governor Obiano, who revealed that his administration had set the zero pothole team to reduce the money which government spends on reconstructing bad roads by identifying potholes and fixing them before they degenerate and cause severe damage on the roads. said with the experience the Army engineers will be bringing, the state road maintenance team will be better equipped to address challenges of road maintenance. Governor Obiano noted that the Army engineers have been a reliable partner with the state government, having assisted in the construction of very difficult roads, and explained that their discussions centered on the projects that they are presently executing for the state government across the state. He said the state government will sustain the partnership with the Nigerian Army engineers to deliver quality roads across the state.
I'm sure you are aware that the Army engineers are one of my contractors. They are doing most of the roads in Onitsha, among other areas. And because I recently mobilized them to finish a couple of roads before the rainy season, the general wanted to come and see how the men are working, and also to find out how satisfied I am. I'm very proud to tell you that the Army has been a very good partner. Not only that their pricing is one of the best, they also do quality work. So I'm quite happy to receive General Malu and the other generals that came with him.
For his part, the commander of the Corps of Engineers, Major General Malu, thanked Governor Obiano for the confidence reposed in the Corps by choosing to partner with them, and said they are committed to undertaking all the projects in keeping with best standards, improving that apart from wars, there are other means the Nigerian Army can contribute towards national development.
You are building capacity of you are building your own capacity. It means whatever foreign contractors could have done, you have seen that you have the capacity, and when you partner with the Army engineers, you give us the capacity, it is part of training for us, and it shows that apart from war, the Nigerian Army engineers are capable of doing other things to add to national development, and we want to most sincerely thank you for this.
In keeping with its effort of maintaining with her success in water, sanitation and hygiene activities in the state, UNICEF donated 3 pickup trucks and motorbikes to the state government. Government House correspondent Kenneth Kwafoma filed the report, and again is taken from our studio.
UNICEF has donated 3 pickup trucks and 2 motorbikes to Anambra state government to support water, sanitation and hygiene wash-related activities in the state. Governor Obiano, on behalf of the state government, received the vehicles and motorbikes at the Governor's Lodge, Amobia.
UNICEF has been a good partner of Anambra State for many years, and they've been undertaking the WASH program, as you all well know. And Her Excellency, my wife, is the WASH ambassador. The emphasis is in trying to ensure that most Anambra people have very clean water to drink, and that, more importantly, that open defecation is stopped. So we went through our performance, which has improved significantly, but there's still many more things to do to address that.
UNICEF has been a major partner with Anambra state government since 2012, working on water and sanitation reforms programs funded by the European Union. The WASH program, which focuses mainly on provision of safe drinking water to the people and ending up defecation, has seen the state under the present administration perform excellently, resulting in the emergence of the wife of the governor, Chief Mrs. Ebelechukwu Obiano, as the WASH ambassador. Receiving the keys after a closed-door meeting with the chief of WASH section, UNICEF country office in Nigeria, Mr. Said Joji, Governor Obiano explained that their discussion centered on WASH activities in the state and what can be done differently to improve on them. The governor, while noting that the state had set up a viable structure for effective implementation of the WASH program, thanked UNICEF for the donations, which he maintained will go a long way in strengthening monitoring and supervision of WASH projects ongoing across the state. The WASH chief of WASH section, Mr. Gigi, in his remarks expressed satisfaction with the progress recorded by the state under the initiative, but pointed out that there is still room for improvement. Thanking Governor Obiano for his hospitality and support towards the WASH programs, Mr. Gigi said they will continue to partner the state across the specified areas.
First of all, your nice hospitality for receiving my colleagues and I today in Anambra State. UNICEF has been working in Anambra since 2012 in the water sector. This is a program, a reform program for the water and sanitation sector that is funded by the European Union. Work is progressing well, and we came here. We are celebrating this is part of the project, three vehicles and 2 motorbikes, but we are aiming at a better achievement, as His Excellency said.
Handover of the keys to the vehicles and motorbikes formed the high point of the event.
About 5 years after Mrs. Rose Anene was lost from her family, she has finally been reunited through the efforts of the wife of the governor, Chief Mrs. Ebelechukwu Obiano, through her Caring Family Enhancement Initiative. Emmanuel Okonkwo was at the reunion that happened last Thursday and now brings us the report.
It was a thing of joy and glory to God for Anene family of Umudioka village, Oka, in Oka South local government area, as they were reintegrated with their mother, grandmother, and wife, Mrs. Rose Anene, after her treatment by the wife of the state governor, Chief Mrs. Ebelechukwu Obiano, through her non-governmental organization, the Caring Family Enhancement Initiative, CAFE, at the home for the mentally challenged in Teje. Mrs. Anene was among the 12 fully recovered inmates of the home for the mentally challenged in Teje, handed over to their families during an event to mark this year's International Women's Day, which had its theme as Press for Progress. The event, which was held at the Ministry of Social Welfare, Children and Women Affairs Rehabilitation Home for the Mentally Ill in Teje in the Oyi local government area, attracted women from around the council area as well as government officials, putting smiles on the families' faces. Mrs. Rose Anene, who is now about 65 years old, was said to have been missing since 1983 after she had mental problem when her children were still little. Addressing the people at the event, the wife of the state governor, Chief Mrs. Ebelechukwu Obiano, who expressed happiness on the total recovery of the woman, said her non-governmental organization, the Caring Family Enhancement Initiative, will continue to give hope to the hopeless. She disclosed that Mrs. Anene was among the first people that the home started with, and thank God that today she has recovered and has identified with her family she left for years. Chief Mrs. Obiano assured that the inmates will be trained in various vocations of their choice and empowered afterward by her CAFE initiative, and prayed God for more successes under the scheme.
Of some of our brothers and sisters who were once thought incapable of meeting their obligations due to various degrees of mental challenges. Not forgetting the special case of our dear sister who was once lost but now found and fully ready to join her kids and kin.
Earlier in his speech, the Commissioner for Social Welfare, Women and Children Affairs, Dr. Victoria Chikwelu, commended the initiative by the governor's wife, which she said has saved many lives, calling on the Anambra to accord the Obiano government more support as it has much to offer. Dr. Chikwelu disclosed that Mrs. Anene was formerly identified as a Yoruba at the home for the mentally challenged, as she speaks only Yoruba language until the day she regained her memory and started speaking Igbo language, and as well remembered her husband's town in Oka, which led to the discovery of her family. Speaking, the first son of the woman, Mr. Chukwudi Anene, who was 6 years old when the mother left them and is now 43, thanked God he is alive with the siblings to see their mother, and regretted that their father is no more to witness the miracle. Also speaking, Mrs. Anene's first daughter, Mrs. Ifeyinwa Uzezie, went down memory lane on their ugly experiences without their mother, promising that they will take good care of her to make sure she enjoys the remaining years on earth. High points of the event included Mrs. Anambra empowerment by Chief Mrs. Obiano and songs of praises to God by friends and well-wishers, as well as dances by the inmates. From the home for the mentally challenged in Teje, in Oyi local government area, I am Emmanuel Okonkwo, reporting for ABS News.
A good one there for Mrs. Rose Anena and her family. More stories after this break. Reports emerged on Wednesday that Governor Willie Obiano sacked his 18 commissioners and political appointees. However, the Commissioner for Information and Communication Strategy, Oboefitoni Nacheta, swiftly debunked the rumor in a post-ESCO briefing. Ngozi Obileri is standing by with the report.
Information and Communication Strategy, Oboefitoni Nacheta, has debunked media reports that Governor Willie Obiano has dissolved his cabinet, sacked his commissioners, aides, and other political appointees. Oboefitoni Nacheta made this known during a post-ESCO briefing at his office, Jerome Udoji Secretariat. According to Oboefitoni Nacheta, the false report came from misinterpretation by a section of the media of the content of a leaked internal memo originating from the Office of the Secretary to the State Government, directing all political appointees to prepare and submit their handover notes and accounts of stewardship on or before Friday, 16th of March 2018. He explained that the tenure of all appointees, including the governor, ends on Friday, March 16th, while the governor will be sworn in for a second term on Saturday, March 17th. The governor may then choose to appoint or reappoint whom he pleases, which he said is proper governance. He described as unfortunate the misinformation being circulated to the public without due verifications, noting that though the ESCO will be dissolved, the date will be chosen by the governor himself. Oboefitoni Nacheta called on Anambra to be at the Dr. Lesekweme Square, Oka, for the swearing in of the governor for a second tenure.
As you know, the peg of that story is supposed to be an internal memo by the Secretary of Government informing political appointees to do the normal. There's nothing in that memo that is new or strange or draconian. That handover, this memo, by the way, was done on the 2nd of March, which is like 2 weeks to hand over. And why 16th of March? 16th of March is the end of the governor's tenure. On that day, the governor's tenure ends. Every political appointee tenure ends as well. Any act you do after that day is ultra-virus. It will be illegal. It will be outside your oath of office.
In Oka, I am Ngozi Obileri for ABS News.
The state government, through the Ministry of Health, this week flagged off its measles vaccination campaigns in the state with a target to drive closer to eliminating the disease. Chibuz Okoye was at the Primary Health Care Center, Osumo Rihala local government area, where the Commissioner for Health, Dr. Joe Akabike, performed the ceremony on behalf of the governor.
His administration will keep sustaining the achievements it has recorded in the health sector. Governor Obiano made this known during the official flag-off of measles vaccination campaign at Primary Health Center Osumohu, Ihiala local government area. According to Governor Obiano, who was represented by the Commissioner for Health, Dr. Joe Akabike, while thanking the people of the area for their support during the November 18, 2017 Anambra State governorship election, said that his government will continue to put emphasis on the health sector. Governor Obiano, who noted that his administration administration introduced complete health reforms in the state through the establishment of the Anambra State Primary Healthcare Development Agency, revealed that his government is planning to have at least one functional primary healthcare center in all the political wards in the state for effective healthcare services.
2 to 3 years, I can win 326 primary healthcare. That is primary healthcare guidance every day. And the kind of me even suppose it na primary healthcare idea. Uno idea, me idea, oku idea, ndolo idea. Nke a dey ebe now. Even the idea, governor yeke one nation.
The Executive Secretary, Anambra State Primary Healthcare Development Agency, Dr. Mrs. Chioma Ezenyemulu, in her address, thanked Governor Obiano for his keen interest in primary health and advised mothers and caregivers in the state to use duration of the vaccination campaign to immunize their children against measles.
With severe complications such as pneumonia, blindness, deafness, brain damage, cardiac arrest leading to death. When routine immunization coverage is low, periodic immunization catch-up campaigns every 2 to 3 years is an opportunity to boost immunity of children, especially in rural and remote areas.
In a goodwill message on behalf of all the health development partners in the state, the World Health Organization consultant in the state, Dr. Willie Onwara, said that the development partners in the state are happy with the exploits the state has recorded in the health sector and assured that they will continue to partner with the state government for it to achieve its development objectives.
We want to appreciate and commend the effort of the government of this state in different development projects which are embarked and completed and some still ongoing, especially in the health sector. We are happy with the development so far in the health sector, in immunization services, for which the state has earned some national recognition.
The measles vaccination campaign started today and will end on the 20th of March 2018 in the state. Official flag-off of the exercise formed the highlight of the event. From Osumohu in Ihiala local government area, it's been Chibuzo Okoye for ABS News.
After over 3 months of the conduct of the November 18 gubernatorial election in the state, conducted by the Independent National Electoral Commission, some of its ad hoc staff are yet to be paid. This led to some of them to stage a peaceful protest at the state headquarters of the commission here in Awka. Chibuzo Okoye again is here with a report.
Some of the inscriptions carried by the protesters were, INEC is wicked, INEC pays our allowances, INEC stop defrauding and shortchanging us, among others. Speaking to the ABS, one of the aggrieved protesters, Mr. Ralu Chukwuobikwelu, who said that he worked as an assistant presiding officer at Dunukofia local government area during the election, regretted that INEC has not paid them any dime since the November 18th governorship election in the state, describing it as an act of wickedness and fraud. Mr. Obikwelu further revealed that INEC has paid his supervisory presiding officer and abandoned most of them to their fate, adding that he has spent huge amount of money transporting himself from his place to Awka to complain about the issue.
One day, this is the duty, charge free and fair. So I don't see reason for them to hold our money. Let them pay us because we did our job well and we delivered correctly.
Another protester, Miss Jacinta Ezulike, who worked at Nnewi North, while narrating her ordeal, said that the commission has subjected them to series of inhuman treatment since November 18th Anambra State governorship election till today, calling on the national headquarters of the commission to compel their office in the state to pay their allowances.
We come in here, they say we write our names. Unlike after writing names, they just put it and put it inside the dustbin. They don't do anything. So last week that we came, the man told us that before Friday we're going to receive our money. Since then, up till now, we have not received anything. And they're not even ready to pay, to even say anything at all.
Efforts by the ABS media team to speak to the public relations officer of the commission, Mr. Leo Nkedife, to get their side of the story proved abortive, as he told the crew that he will not speak. In Awka, it's been Chibuzo Okoye for ABS News.
President Muhammadu Buhari finally began a tour of states affected by Fulani herdsmen crisis and Boko Haram insurgency after several months of knocks from the opposition and dissenting voices within the ruling party on his inability to visit affected states. On the first leg of his scheduled visit to the troubled states are Benue, Plateau, Yobe, Zamfara, and Rivers. The president has come under heavy criticism for failing to visit the troubled states, with many accusing him of insensitivity to the suffering of the people of the affected states. But his visit to Taraba on Monday, his current visit to Kano, and other scheduled visits to other appeared not to have swayed his critics, including the opposition People's Democratic Party (PDP) and Governor Ayo Fayose of Ekiti State, who dismissed it as a belated gambit to show up the president's declining popularity. The presidential advisor for media and publicity, Mr. Femi Adesina, had in a statement in Abuja said the president had, after receiving briefings from the delegations that he sent to the affected states, decided to visit them to obtain an on-the-spot assessment of the situation and commiserate with victims and their families. The president only met with the governor, Mr. Darius Ichaku, and stakeholders, including traditional rulers, senators, and members of the House of Representatives, and commiserated with them over the enormous losses during the internecine violence that enveloped some parts of the state earlier in the year, and as recently in the last few days. However, Buhari neither visited the theater of the crisis in the Mambila Plateau nor any of the internal displaced persons IDP camps in Jalingo, where the victims were kept, drawing further swipes from the indigenous people of the state, who accused him of showing more concern for the violence in Mambila Plateau, where the Fulani were more affected than other areas of the state that the Fulani were perceived as aggressors. We'll go on a break now. When we come back, more stories will come your way. Welcome back to the program. Within the week, President Muhammadu Buhari, just like we reported, visited Taraba State and is planning to visit Benue by Monday. His visit drew up some arguments again about his reaction to the issue of Fulani herdsmen. We have in the studio Mr. Joseph Anganti, a legal practitioner and a public affairs analyst. He's here to analyze how he feels Mr. President's approach to the issue in Benue State and the environs is going. Sir, we want to say, do you think that his visit at this point in time was late, or was it, like they said, a visit that his time has come?
Actually, we must first of all commend Mr. President for coming up at this point in time to visit those affected states. But at the same time, we must have to also say that Mr. President have not actually tried enough, because for him to come up at this point in time to start moving down to these affected states, one would have expected him to do this before now, because there's no way, let's say in Benue State, 73 lives will be buried the same day, and Mr. President will be somewhere doing another thing. That same day he was at Abia State, yes, doing rally. For what? If it's in other country like United States, will Trump be somewhere else? If the life of one person is in issue, the president ought to be there. But before now, Nigerians have expected Mr. President to react, to even get down to some of these states. Not now. So going there now must be a kind of afterthought, because some persons have come up to criticize the way he's doing things, and that is why he's now going to Benue State, going to Taraba. And if you look at the reaction of people there, they were not happy. They are northerners at the same time. They were very vocal. They were out. They told him face to face, Mr. President, we are not happy with you. You need to look at their security apparatus, because the security apparatus is coming from one region of this country, and that is not good for this country.
He mentioned that he has his way of approaching security issues, and his visit was timely after considering all the reports on his table.
Mr. President don't need to consider any report before moving down to any affected state. We are talking of lives of individuals here, the people you've vowed to protect. So if at any point in time their lives are in danger, you move down. You don't need anybody. You are the commander, the chief commander of armed forces. If it is not convenient for you to move down there, you tell the head of the army to provide security for you. Move down to that place, at least to let the people know that you are not in support of what the herdsmen are doing. But for you to wait until this time around, nobody will. It's not even a surprise to anybody.
Okay, finally, Mr. President visited Taraba, but didn't see the communities. He just talked with the stakeholders. Do you think that approach will yield results?
Good. That is another angle.
Okay.
Because if actually you have made up your mind to move down to the affected states, you don't need to go down to a government house and start having some ceremony there. No. You need to move down to the location, the scene of the crime, so that you can actually feel the pain, feel the impact of the people. Talk to them direct. Feel the pain. You don't need to go down to government house and start shaking hands with senators, House of Reps, House of Assembly members. No.
So you feel it doesn't find a solution to the problem?
Of course, that is not. And even up to this moment, the governor of Benue is still complaining that despite all the security measures, people are being killed on daily basis in Benue State and some other places. So he should say something. He should be active, proactive, and not responsive. When something happens, you start going there. Order these people, tell these people in a very strong term, do this, and they will do it. After all, when they came after the IPOB members, he gave a very strong instruction. Go down to the east and make sure you terminate these people. And today you don't talk of IPOB again. So you should do the same thing to the Benue and the same thing at Taraba and some other affected states. That is the point.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Joseph Anganti, for being in this very first edition of our program, The Week in Review. Thank you, sir, for coming.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Mr. Joseph just reacted to the issues of President's actions towards fighting the Boko Haram and Fulani herdsmen crisis in Middle Belt region of the country and some other northern states. When we come back from the break, more stories will come your way. The week ending has been considered by the majority of social commentators as a very remarkable one for the judicial arm of government after a federal high court sitting in Abuja, after 7 years of legal fireworks, sentenced Charles Oka and his co-defendant Obinwabweze to life imprisonment for masterminding the bomb blast which occurred in Abuja on October 1, 2010 and earlier in Warri in Delta State on March 15, 2010. The two convicts were said to have planned the attacks with Charles' elder brother, Mr. Henry Oka, the leader of the defunct movement for the emancipation of Niger Delta, who had been convicted of the same offenses and sentenced to 24 years imprisonment by a South African court in 2013. Justice Gabriel Kolawole, delivering the judgment in the case, which commenced on December 7, 2010, ruled that the prosecution proved the charges preferred against Charles and Nwabweze beyond reasonable doubt. Oka and Nwabeze alongside Edmond Ebiware and Tekenfa Francis Osuvuo, also known as General Bokos, were first arraigned before the court on December 7, 2010 in connection with the 2010 Independence Day and Warri bomb blasts. Francis Osuvuo died later in detention, while Ebiware, who had his trial conducted separately, had been convicted on January 25, 2013 for the same offenses and currently serving a life sentence. At least 12 persons were said to have died, with many others injured and property, including cars burnt in the incident, which occurred near Eagle Square in Abuja, venue of the Independence Day celebration, which was being presided over by the then President Goodluck Jonathan. We move to the foreign scene now, where more deaths in eastern Ghouta, Syria, as government forces continue bombardments in the rebel-held city despite votes by the UN Security Council calling for ceasefire. Medical facilities supported by Doctors Without Borders, MFS, have received over 1,000 dead and 4,800 wounded from the city in just 2 weeks. The organization said, the group said, the numbers dating from the start of the renewed Syrian government assault on February 18th until March 4 and are underestimate and do not include the data of all MSF-supported medical facilities or facilities not supported by the humanitarian organization. MSF death count was later updated on Sunday. According to Wednesday's statement, monitoring groups have reported scores killed daily this week as activities reported apocalyptic scenes in the streets of eastern Ghouta on the outskirts of the capital, Damascus. 15 out of 20 MSF-supported facilities have been shelled or bombed. In the continuing government offensive, Syrian government forces brandished their weapons as they moved through the rubble. On Wednesday alone, 90 people were killed in strikes across eastern Ghouta, according to the Syrian American Medical Society, which supports medics and medical facilities on the ground. It is now a blissful journey back home to her master as the seasoned and erudite administrator, Mrs. Ujike, former acting director of administration of Anambra Broadcasting Service, is laid to rest in her country home, Upomilif, Dunkofe local government area. Kenneth Kuchkudi brings us the moments in this report.
The living has been taxed to live a righteous life so as to not be forever condemned to the flames of hell. This was a theme of homily during the funeral mass for the late head of administration ABS, Mrs. Obenuju Elizabeth Ike, held at St. Mary's Catholic Church, Ifitedunu, Dunukofe Council area. The St. Mary's Catholic Church, Ifitedunu, Dunukofe Council area witnessed the gathering of people from all walks of life, including government functionaries, family, friends, and the ABS family, who gathered to pay their last respect to the late Mrs. Uju Ike. Reverend Father Chinedu Achusim, in a homily, urged Christians to live a life that will earn them salvation, as death comes when least expected, hence the need to be prepared always.
What is that greatest sin? In hell, the condition of the damned, their agony and the all the more increased and augmented.
Speaking to the ABS crew shortly after the interment, the children of the deceased, Mrs. Chiamaka Opala and Mr. Christian Ike, described their mother as a woman of many virtues who loved God, her family, and who always helped and reached out to the needy.
She has always been there for me, but I'll tell you that she's a mother, not to the core. Yeah, sometimes you do have our differences as usual, but she always makes sure she guides us on the right path.
The Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of ABS, Nze Uche Nwora, who reiterated how painful the death of Ujike has been to him and the ABS family, consoled with the family and urged them to take solace in the life she lived.
Uju will never be forgotten at ABS. Makana all Holigo, the police admin, I made promotion at ABS last year. I know so na Abura is backward. So now, Uju Abuja Kewa,
For the Director of Programs, ABS, Kate Okeke, described late Mrs. Ike as dedicated staff who sticks to standard and rules. The funeral ceremony was rounded up with interment rite, condolence visit by family, friends and well-wishers, including the ABS family. The late Mrs. Elizabeth Obenuju Ike died at the age of 51 years. From Dumukofa Council area in Anambra State, it's been Kenechukwu Chukwudi for ABS News.
Just like you reported, President Muhammad Buhari began the tour of states affected by the Fulani herdsmen crisis, starting from Taraba State. His visit came after a long run of criticism from the public, especially the opposition, who labeled him clueless and lacking in will to address the security challenges in the country. Contrarily, the president believed that it was an idea whose time has come. He in fact stated that he has his own way of gathering information and was once an army general that would be unquestionable. Barely had the president left Taraba did the Fulani herdsmen hit Edumoga village in Benue State, killing 24 men, children, and men. 6 others died in Boko Haram onslaught in Borno State, totaling to about 30 in just a night. Significantly, this may not be the first time the president will be delaying a response to major security issues in the country. He had once told a gathering that it takes time to take a decision. I may now suggest that considering the level of security situations in the north, east, and parts of the north central, the president should understand that his delayed response is not the solution. Maybe he should find a better approach that will be more result-oriented, effective, and sustainable. Nevertheless, he said he has done his best. With that, we come to the end of this edition of the program, The Week in Review. But remember, you can follow news and programs on ABS from any part of the world by logging on to our website, www.absradiotv.com. Like us at www.facebook.com, ABS Radio TV.